Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of How to Build Your Character in Maya. My name is Brian. If you followed along with the last episode, then we built a simple leg joint chain as well as some IK chains that were built in here. Today we're going to start looking at the control system for these structures. What we're going to do first of all is we're going to build something called a null node. And to create one, it's simply edit and then click on the group. When you do so, it'll create a null node. Now we're going to rename this first null. We're going to rename this first one toe underscore ball underscore ankle underscore null underscore L. Now a null node is basically a container node. All I'm going to be using it for is to add things to it in order to create a hierarchy in order to control this joint system that we've actually built. So that's our first one. We're going to build two right now. So click anywhere in space, make sure nothing is selected, and say edit group. It's going to create another null. This one's going to be called ball underscore ankle underscore null underscore L. Okay, so we have two nulls set up, and if we go to our window and we take a look at the outliner, we're going to see them both right here. These are going to be put in place right now. They're going to be attached, or they're going to be constrained to a joint to make sure they're in the appropriate location. So first of all, we're going to select the joint that we want it to be attached to, and we want our toe ball ankle to be attached to the toe joint. So I'm going to zoom in here, select the toe, then select the toe ball ankle null, and we're going to go constrain, point, and go to the little square to make sure that the maintain offset is turned off. If it is, click add. You're going to see that that null jumps to the toe. The manipulators are now here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go constrain, orient, little box, maintain offset is off, and add. In doing so, this is going to turn blue, and that means that it's actually being controlled by another object. But what we really are interested in is that this is now the same location and rotation as the toe joint. That's what we're trying to do. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into the outliner. We're going to expand this, and when we see under toe ball ankle null, there's two constraints under here. We don't need them anymore. We're going to select them both, and we're going to delete them. We only built them to make sure that our null was snapped to the toe. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing with the ball ankle null. And as the name implies, we're going to attach it to the ball joint. So I'm going to select the ball joint, I'm going to select the null node, and I'm going to say constrain point, constrain orient. It is now in the appropriate location. Okay. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to delete both of those constraints. Those are both in the appropriate location. Now we're going to build the rest of the null hierarchy. So I'm going to select the toe ball ankle. I want something to be located exactly in the same position. So I'm going to duplicate the toe ball ankle null by saying edit, duplicate. When I do, we get additional node in here, and it's located in the exact same coordinates as the original. I'm going to rename this one, and I'm going to rename this one foot rock null underscore L. We're probably not going to actually use this node. It's kind of a more difficult concept. I'm not going to actually use it, but I'm setting it up here in case I change my mind. The first thing we're going to do with this, now that we've renamed it, is we're going to click it in the outliner, and with the the middle mouse button, we're going to drag it up and drop it under the toe ankle. Okay, so it is now parented under the toe ball ankle null. Perfect. The next thing we're going to do is select the ball ankle null, and we're going to duplicate that as well. Edit, duplicate, and it's going to be built in the same location as the original. Again, we're going to rename it. This one is going to be renamed. What do I want to rename this? Not foot rock null. Duplicate toe, excuse me. We want to rename this one toe rotator. Had to check over my notes here because I drew a complete blank. Toe rotator underscore null underscore L. Perfect. Now the toe rotator null is actually not going to be placed anywhere else. It's going to remain exactly where it is. It's in the right location as it is. Now the reason why we've built this group right here, these groupings, is we're going to use them to control the bones. We're going to use them to control the bones as well as the IK. And I'll show you exactly what that means in a second. Ultimately, we're going to use a control that we're going to build to control everything, but in this one here we're going to actually use these things here to group everything and keep everything nicely contained together. It'll set up our rotation points to allow different types of rotation that we're going to use in the end. Okay? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the null hierarchy. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the toe IK, which is right here, and we're going to parent it under the toe rotator null. Exactly the same way we did with the foot rock null. We're going to select it, we're going to middle mouse and drag it and drop it on the toe rotator, just like that. It'll appear underneath. The next thing we're going to do is select the IK ankle and as well as the IK ball, and we're going to parent both of these under the ball ankle null. So we're going to middle mouse button drag and drop. Okay, great. That stuff is in the appropriate location. Now we're going to take both the ball ankle null and the toe rotator null, and we're going to parent both of these under the foot rock null right here. So I'm going to select this one as well as this one, and I'm going to middle mouse and drag and put it under the foot rock null. Now, that is our null hierarchy. Good stuff. Now that we're like this, we can actually test to make sure this is going to work. If I move, for example, the toe ball ankle, the entire system is going to move now. We don't leave anything behind. So that's exactly what we're looking for. The next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a foot controller. And you know what? I'm going to do it right now because I still have a few minutes left in this video. So I'm going to create a foot controller in this video. To do so, we're going to create NURBS primitive, and we're going to create a circle, just like that. And I'm going to drag the circle over here for now. I'm going to actually, you know what? I'm going to put it right underneath so I can see where it is. I'm going to put it like this. And I'm going to right-click on the circle, and I'm going to say Control Vertices. And then I'm going to drag these exactly what I want. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is make this a little bigger just to make sure I get exactly what I want. Let's make this size 3. Is that good? That's pretty good. I'm going to right-click, Control Vertices. And I'm going to drag these into position to build a control. This is what's going to actually be used to animate my foot. You can make this any shape you desire. You know, I'm just going to do it really quick right here so we can see it and we can move on to the next video, just like this, just like this. This one here, up here like that, and this one over here like this. You can make this any shape you want, and I'm going to make sure that I can identify this as a left foot by taking these two and dragging them forward. And I'm going to right click on this, go back into object mode, and I'm going to rename it CNT underscore foot left. So this is my control foot left. The last thing I'm going to do, right click off, I'm going to say edit, and I'm going to create a group again. This is going to be called an adjustment node. So group. This is going to be called adjustment node, and I'm going to call it foot underscore left. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this adjustment node and I'm going to constrain it to there. So constrain to the ankle. So I got the ankle, I got the adjustment node, and I'm going to say constrain, point, constrain, orient. Perfect. The last thing I'm going to do is take this control that I built, the foot control, and I'm going to place it underneath the adjustment node of the ankle, just like that. And one last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hit the insert button on my computer, and it's going to change, this is with the foot control selected, it's going to change this into a different type of manipulator. I'm going to select the magnet with a dot like that. That is a point snap, and I'm going to snap that rotation directly to the ankle like that and hit insert again and turn off the magnet. I'm lastly going to select, make sure this is selected, and I'm going to say modify, freeze transformations. Now, this entire system is going to be taken, the toe ball ankle, the entire system is going to be taken and parented under the foot control, just like this. Oops, 1 second. I actually want to delete these. You don't want to have this constraints anymore. Those are no longer necessary. So that's a free floating object, and I'm going to take the entire system, the toe ball ankle null, and I'm going to drag it and place it under the foot. Now the entire foot is controllable by using just this curve. That's what you want for your animators. They should be animating curves and never joints. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. If you enjoyed it, give me that thumbs up, leave me a comment, and make sure you subscribe to get my next video. Next, we'll be tackling additional attributes. Talk to you all soon.